Welcome back to the Malted Man Cave. I'm Keith.
I'm Dave.
Tonight we're going to be doing our first whiskey from the Isle of Skye, courtesy of my cousin Jonathan at Mead Mule. Alright, so as I said before, we're going to be doing a whiskey from the Isle of Skye. But before we get into that...
Sounds like such a magical place. Is that where they do the, all the track stuff? Like driving around like crazy on the roads?
Is there a specific Scottish island where they do that?
Pretty sure it's the Isle of Skye.
I mean, I know about the Autobahn.
I mean, it's literally called the Isle of Skye, like the race. I'm pretty sure, dude, you should watch it. If I'm correct, dude, they're driving by like stone walls, inches apart.
Really?
Inches from it, yeah.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
So before we get into all that, I want to say thank you to Scott Monroe, who recently became a Patreon of us. We really appreciate it. As we've said before, there's no pressure. We just like that you guys watch, comment. So if you can't do it, don't worry. You know, sometimes it helps me buy all the expensive whiskeys because whiskey is not cheap. So Scott Monroe, you are amazing. He's an authentic Scotsman, so it's kind of an honor to have someone that knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Be a Patreon of our channel. So thank you, Scott. You're amazing. So this video is dedicated to you. So as I said, tonight we're doing Talisker 8. It's a whiskey right now that a lot of people are really excited about. It was kind of newly released. I'm not sure if it's going to be, it's a limited edition. And I think people are kind of wondering and hoping that it's going to be kind of a regular part of their core range. So I don't want to spoil anything, but it is pretty good. So I'm hoping that it will. And yeah. I don't think we have not reviewed Talisker 10 yet, have we? No, I don't think so. So we got to get that review out sometime too.
How close would an 8 and a 10 be? Not very close.
What do you mean?
Well, I was kind of asking you before. Is this similar? Is this 8 similar to the 10 that you have?
Yeah, very similar styles. You get the same like super briny, salty profile that I think Talisker, really stands out for me.
Yeah.
This is a higher ABV. They may or may not have used kind of a better cask selection. I think it's more, I'm not sure if Talisker 10 is colored and chill filtered. Excuse me, I think it is. So my guess would be that, I didn't do my research, but I would guess that this is not chill filtered and it's not colored.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. We'll get back to you and we'll put the information right there. So, without further ado, this is Talisker 8. It comes in at 59.4% ABV.
Boom. So
let's get into some whiskey. Talisker, I believe, is still the only distillery on the Isle of Skye. There you go. Thanks. I think it was established in 1830. And it's really, like I said before, it's known for just being incredibly, incredibly briny.
You want the rest of that?
And it's got a lot of that ocean influence. No, we'll save it. So, without further ado, what do you got on the nose?
Can I just give a quick... It's not the Isle of Skye, I don't think. I think it's the Isle of Man. I don't want to sound like... I don't want anybody in the comments like that.
Well, we should... Let's
that sparkly sweater... sparkly sweatered catcher.
Let me call up Ralphie. He lives on the Isle of Man. I'm good friends with Ralphie, so I'll just give him a call.
Yeah. Hey, Ralphie, let me know.
Ralphie,
you
bro.
You know how to get in touch.
So you think it's the Isle of Man, not the Isle of Skye?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Isle of Man. So I needed as a man
a disclaimer.
I'm pretty sure but it'd be cool if they do it there too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got on the nose, bud?
Maybe it is Isle of Skye.
So salty.
Yes, wow. So that was my first note, is it reminded me of, we were on our honeymoon and we took one of those little quick trips and we were in one of those little like off the resort, and it was us taking these little tiny boats, 2-seater boats, out to the middle of the ocean and snorkeling.
Yeah.
And
everything just smells like salt.
Oh my gosh, everything is just salty the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just...
like dried salt.
Yeah. So just... Oh man. Got to touch a shark though.
So I think some people oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was the only one in our group that would swim down to touch it. Our guide, who didn't speak English, was like motioning to us.
How big was it?
Maybe
Was it like a nurse shark? Like
yeah, it didn't want anything with us. It
wasn't a bull shark or a tiger shark.
And it didn't have any. It didn't look
that would
wounded.
have been a bad day.
It didn't look hurt, or it just looked like, hey, what are you guys up to? You gonna feed me?
I think I told you, and I think I'm gonna tell it again because it was a video so long ago, and it
Yeah.
only has like 100.
The people want to
views
hear.
on it.
The people.
Ever tell you my story about snorkeling in Hawaii?
Yes, you did apparently.
So, all right. So my whole life, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was my favorite movie growing up, and for some weird reason, I had a dread fascination with giant squids.
Oh,
Just upset.
I remember.
Horrified, but also like mesmerized. Like those are the most beautiful and horrifying thing.
We would either watch Braveheart or we would watch 20,000 Leagues Under the
I made him
over
and over
again on VHS.
And so, you know the part where that giant squid basically attacks the Nautilus. So
Yeah.
I was just always fascinated with squid, giant squids, octopi. And so I told the guide, I was like, man, I'd really love to see an octopus if you see it. So he's like, all right. So the second dive that we were at, he immediately went down like 30, probably only 30 feet. And I see him like kind of at the bed of the seafloor. And he's like cranking on something. And I'm like, the sand's going everywhere. I'm like, what the frick is he doing? And before I know it, all of a sudden I kind of went close to him. And out he pulls this like giant, it wasn't that big, but it was a pretty big size red octopus.
Bigger than what you expected.
That was, you know, and it seemed kind of docile. It wasn't like, I thought it'd be more pissed for getting ripped out.
Yeah.
And he kind of motioned, and my brother-in-law, Tim, who has been on the show and is a bad A fighter pilot, was up at the top like, the guy who has been in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's like,
called out.
So
Again, apparently.
I was interested, but the diver seemed to be like it was totally okay. So you know the scuba diver instructor. So I went down, put my arm out, and it was like so gentle, it like wrapped around, and I could feel this little sucker cups.
That's awesome.
On my skin, and it was pretty happy. And then something happened. I think it kind of got spooked, and then it like kind of like latched onto the scuba dive instructor's mask, and he was like, and he finally like the octopus inked and it took off.
Oh, that's awesome.
The crazy part of that story, and I probably need to be fact-checked on this. This may have grown. This may have been a fishtail that has grown over, but I'm pretty sure this is true. When I looked up the indigenous types of octopi that are in Hawaii,
the poisonous beak,
there was like only like one type, and it's like deadly to humans. And I'm like, what the heck? What kind of scuba dive instructor is like, yeah, come on down to your death. Come on down.
So I also got, it reminds me of camp when I was a kid. Stepping out of or going into the cabin even. But the smell of my sleeping bag a little bit too.
Very musty. What is it?
Yeah.
What did your sleeping bag smell like as an adolescent kid?
See, I went to camp.
We'll leave that alone.
My camp was in the middle of a forest in July, and I didn't have like a Coleman sleeping bag. My sleeping bag was like an old school like cloth one, and it was real damp all week long.
So there definitely is like a mustiness in here for sure.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, musty. And then some honeycomb, a little burnt honeycomb. How about you, man?
Yeah, I definitely get the honey for sure. So along with the honeycomb that you're talking about, the mustiness, the crazy amounts of saltiness, which I really like about Talisker. I know it might be off-putting for some people. I really love the saltiness. Every once in a while, I won't be in the mood for it. I'm like, but if I'm in the mood for something salty, this is what I pick.
Yeah.
This or Talisker 10. So I get iron. Like I'm just smelling iron.
I got you.
Pork chops. There's like a meaty, like salted pork chops, if that was ever a thing.
It is a thing.
Bonfire on a beach, kind of like this, like a smoke you'd smell like in a marine environment. Apples and pears.
Apples and pears. Dude.
What about
let's get into it.
The palate.
Salty. Oh man, it's good. Kind of reminds me of a salty Werther's Original.
Yeah.
But like if you do that and then you take a shot of pepper at the same time.
And salt all at the same time.
Yeah, it's all at the same time. It's just like boom. A lot of them. And it's got like a soapy, waxy like coating to the tongue.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, it's pretty good for what it is. A little peat in there.
So,
it's real good.
After I've drank a couple of drams of the Talisker 10 or some of this, have you ever like had like a canker sore or like something you like soak your mouth out with like soap?
Yeah.
Not soap, I'm sorry, salt. Water, it was salt when you mix salt and water.
Yep.
That's what my mouth tastes like.
Yeah.
Along with other good things too, because you get like the kind of the vanilla, the honeycomb, as Dave said, which I totally agree is there.
Sort of feels like you wash your mouth with peroxide, or not peroxide, but
Peroxide.
not peroxide.
Amazing dram.
Baking soda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little.
I don't know how to explain that. Like a base? Is that a base?
Iodine?
Sure.
Yeah. A little bit of cinnamon and nutmegs in there. Applesauce. Again, that iron, pork chops, and then again, just it's the salt. It's so prevalent, and it is the fact that this is ABV makes it special.
Yeah.
I like this a lot better than the Talisker 10.
I wouldn't want it. And yeah, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
Lower.
I think that they use a little bit better cask than they use on the Talisker 10, and then the ABV just makes it have that much more flavor and impact.
Womp womp.
All right, what do you get on the?
Do you think that's just so that they can like cut costs and like make up for some of the more expensive?
Partly, absolutely. When these distilleries are running out of stocks, you know, they kudos to them for at least trying to provide us with something. You know, we can't age it quite 10, 12, 15, 18 years, so we're going to get it put an 8, and I'm glad that they actually put an age statement on it and say it's 8 years old instead of just putting, you know, NAS and some fancy Viking / ridiculous thing, you know, marketing scheme about it. But I really do think they use like really good casks, and the fact that they give us, you know, like natural presentation, I'm pretty sure with the high ABV normally you don't chill filter.
Yeah.
I don't think they had color, but I'm not sure. Again, I got a reference right there. We'll tell.
Boom.
So, what do you get on the finish?
So once again, that coated tongue feeling stays. Pepper stays, salt stays. It is a peppery salt wax coming down the pike. It's definitely good. I mean, I understand that it's good. It's not my favorite, but
So I'm actually getting a little marzipan on the finish.
ooh.
So I would say it's about a medium, almost medium, getting close to long. I get, again, all that saltiness, iron ore, a little bit of that meaty pork chops, smoked pork chops on the grill. A little bit of vanilla, maybe even the slightest hint of florals popping through. Pretty good. So, Malted Man Cave, Mark, what are you going to give this?
So it's not exactly what
I'm
I
still
would...
having flashbacks to you and what your sleeping bag smells like. I don't even want to know what went on. I don't want to know what went on in that sleeping bag.
I was an ultra clean kid. It was just it was a cloth sleeping bag, and it could have been Gore-Tex or whatever, but it wasn't. It was sad.
Funny story.
It was my brother's sleeping bag, and then my sister's sleeping bag, and then my sleeping bag.
I'll do you on like old school like hand me down. So like when I went to camp, I think I had a pretty decent sleeping bag, but then my mom gave me this like cushion that was from my grandpa in World War II that he slept on. Like I think it went to like Normandy. I'm not joking. Like seriously.
He used it to smother.
That one has some smells to it. But we digress. Malted Man Cave, Mark.
Things have gone off the rails. So, it's not exactly my wheelhouse. I appreciate it for what it is. Mm-hmm. It is very good, but not my favorite. And so I'm going to give it an 85.
85.
85.
So originally I was going to give this an 89, but now that I got to counterbalance your bad score, I think I got to give this a 90. Because I know, like, this
is that a bad score? I feel like 85 is a good score.
Not. I'm just saying
it's really good, and I understand. You don't how
need
good
to,
it
like,
is.
if that's an 85 for you, it's an 85.
All right.
Like, that isn't your wheelhouse, like you said. But for people who like peaty saltiness, this is the dram for you. If you like bourbons more, or bourbon matured whiskeys, or even sherry bombs, this may not be the dram for you. But for me, this is a 90 out of 100. It is that good. I couldn't imagine this if it was like aged 12 years at that same like natural presentation, that cask strength. I love the saltiness. I love the smells of sleeping bags and junior hires.
Not too many bad memories.
So, question of the night.
Got my first handhold while sleeping in that sleeping. No, not while sleeping
in the sleeping bag.
No, but during the week that I was got to hold a hand. Question of the night.
You didn't spring for the hug.
Oh man. No, you got to go for the handhold during Vespers.
What is Vespers?
It's like an evening worship chapel, Christian camp.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, question of the night is, funny or most exciting or just a good story related to you drinking whiskey, you drinking in general, just drinking and capers.
Are you gonna go first, or am I gonna go first? I think you have a better story, so you go first.
Oh, what? So in college, it was like our first. You were not there. Keith decided not to room with me in college and roomed with Emmanuel.
Our friendship almost ended after that.
I had to room with a guy I didn't know. And he did not wash his clothes. He kept them in trash bags under our bed, under our bunk bed. He kept his dirty clothes. So, for me, it was my first party with, like, guys that I wanted to make an impression on, and I played a joke where I filled up a bottle of, I don't know what whiskey it was, but it looked like apple juice. Mm-hmm. And then I dumped apple juice into this thing. And our friend, Steve, it was at his house, and he had this... Yeah. Nice. He had this buddy that was not there, and so I was like, hey, everybody, once he gets here, I just don't want you guys to say anything. Just everybody come into the kitchen and just chant, and like, I'm going to down this whole thing of whiskey right in front of this guy. So he comes in, everybody's talking. Turk introduces us, and I grabbed that bottle off the fridge, and I popped the cork.
Frank the Tank!
And everybody's like, do it! Everybody's like, do it! And I go, glug, 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 glug. And then nobody told him. I finished the whole thing, and the guy's just staring at me. And this guy just got off work. He's sober. Everybody's been drinking. So he's just staring at me like, this guy's gonna die. Like, we need to get... And no one told him the truth for years. For years, no one told him the truth.
Was it someone that I knew that fell for it?
You might have met him. No. Yeah, he was only like a Pennsylvania friend. He never came to Ohio.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But anyways, so...
That's hilarious.
It was pretty funny. So for years, he would just be like, hey, this is the guy that drank the whole bottle of whiskey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can quite live up to that story. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty legendary.
I was going to rehash our... we'll have to link the previous story about us at Pleasure Island.
Oh, gosh. Many of you old-time subscribers remember my cowardice at Pleasure Island.
No! He scaled
my freak athleticism.
He scaled a 12-foot fence. It gets higher every year.
So, the one, me and my wife...
Impossible odds. Sorry.
Me and my wife actually just went out for Valentine's Day. And to my chagrin, she totally said, we're going to do a Valentine's Day review. She said she was going to, like, put lights up in the roses that I got, and we're going to do a review.
Bed.
So she puts the kids to bed. She lays down with them for a couple minutes, and then she falls. And then, like, I just kept waiting for the, for her to come down or for the text. Never got it. Finally, I texted her. I was like, I just need to know. Are we doing this or not? No response.
Silence.
No lover's review for the Malted Man Cave. But anyways, at dinner, we were discussing just our past and something, just different dates and whatnot. And somehow it came up. Now, I don't believe in getting drunk. You know, I try to practice temperance and moderation in my old age.
Yeah.
But, you know, we went through a 5 or 6 year period where I wasn't always the wisest or the most model citizen.
What's it called when
temperance?
When you're Amish and you go crazy for
Rumspringa. Yeah, we went on Rumspringa for a couple of years. So after I was deployed in the military, when I got back, me and like some military buddies, we went on vacation to St. Martin, which is where we went on our honeymoon. So we went again. So we love St. Martin. You've been too, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
And I don't know what happened.
Dutch side or French side? Dutch side. You were on the Dutch side.
Dutch side. So on our, we went out. We went on this like catamaran tour.
Yeah.
You know, and they had like free Mai Tais the whole time. And
yeah.
I didn't have as much money back then, so I'm like getting my money's worth. Because I'm
Keep it going,
like my grandpa, like the chief, that's coming out at me. I'm like, I'm gonna get my money's worth. Drank way too many, and then we came back, and I think I drank some kind of whiskey. I don't know if it was Scotch. I think it was Johnny Walker, because that was one of the few times I was like trying to be fancy with some Scotch.
Johnny
It was probably like Johnny Walker Red, like the crappiest blended whiskey. Anyways, and after that, my buddy had some absinthe. Now, I don't think it was the good kind that had like the wormwood in it, like that actually gives you hallucinations, but it was enough. I had enough to drink with whiskey, with absinthe, to where my wife was just like recalling and making fun of me. Like, I apparently went out with this bottle of martini and rosy champagne, and I'm like swimming in the ocean, like, plugging up like the hole with the champagne with my thumb so the water wouldn't get in. And then she's like, "We thought you were gonna die." She's like, "You look like a beached whale, like rolling as the waves came tumbling in."
And you've got your thumb in the end.
Yeah. So me and her were just laughing about that at dinner, and she was just like, "For shame, Keith."
Yeah.
For shame.
When you and Lindsay go on vacation, do you find friends?
Yeah.
Like to go out with, to go out to eat with. Hallie and I do too. We, for our honeymoon, we made friends with these Canadians who were wild. They were wild. And Hallie and I were like, we were out of our depth.
That's so funny. On our first honeymoon, we hung out with this guy called Billy Bridge, and he was this like hardcore giant Italian guy from New York City that worked on bridges, like with a riveter. Dude could drink, and dude liked to smoke, and he was a party animal. And his wife or girlfriend at the time was, she reminded me of, what are they called? Like the flappers, like in the saloons, like just rough.
Yeah.
And she was awesome, pretty woman, but just like rough around the edges. So yeah, it was fun. So yeah, my story is me just kind of for shame. Lindsay just looked at me. She's like, "For shame, Keith, for shame." So that's my story. Yours is probably a little bit better than mine. So please like, subscribe. Thank you guys always for watching. Leave us a question of the night if you want to hear us banter about something. And as always, appreciate you guys watching.